Jai Hind children, welcome back to our science class. Let us continue the chapter soil. We have already discussed how soil forms. Let us recall that. Rocks are heated by the sun and cooled by the rain continuously for many years. The surface rocks break down into small pieces because of repeated heating and cooling. These small pieces are carried to different places by wind or rainwater. As they move, they get mixed with organic matter. These pieces rub against each other due to running water and become smaller and smaller as they move from one place to another. Thus, soil is formed. Next is about properties of soil.
The rate of absorption of water is different in different types of soils. This phenomena of absorption of water by soil is termed as percolation. Now let us do an activity. Take a hollow pipe having a diameter of 5 centimeters. Place the pipe about 2 centimeters deep in the ground. Pour 200 milliliter of water in the pipe slowly. Note the time when you start pouring water. When all the water has percolated, leaving the pipe empty, note the time again. Be careful not to let the water spill over or run down on the outside of the pipe while pouring. Calculate the rate of percolation by using the following formula. Percolation rate milliliter upon minutes is equal to amount of water in milliliters upon percolation time in minutes. Soil contains moisture. Let us do an activity to show this. Take a boiling tube. Put 2 spoonfuls of soil sample in it. Heat it and observe it. You will observe that the soil evaporates, moves up on heating and condenses on the cooler inner wall of the upper part of the boiling tube. Different types of soils absorb water to different extents. Let us do an activity to show this. Take a plastic funnel. Take a filter paper or a piece of newspaper sheet, fold and place it as shown here. Pour powdered soil into the funnel. Measure a certain amount of water in a measuring cylinder and pour it drop by drop on the soil. Do not let all the water fall at one spot. Pour water all over the soil. Keep pouring the water till it starts dripping. Subtract the amount of water left in the measuring cylinder from the amount you started with. This is the amount of water retained by the soil. Calculate the weight of soil after it has absorbed the water. Weight of soil is equal to 50 grams. Initial volume of water in the measuring cylinder is equal to 10 milliliter. Final volume of water in the measuring cylinder is equal to 5 milliliter. Percentage of water absorbed is equal to 10 minus 5 upon 50 into 100 is equal to 10%.
Next is about percolation through different types of soil. That is sandy soil, loamy soil and clayey soil.
The speed at which water flows through the column of soil is known as percolation rate, and percolation of water depends on the particle size of the given soil sample. Let us see. For this we need 3 funnels having a cotton plug at the end, conical flasks, 20 grams each of sand, loamy soil, clay and 3 beakers with 50 milliliters of colored water. Put the sand in the first funnel, loamy soil in the second and clay in the third. Now pour the colored water slowly over each type of soil. Observe the amount of water percolated. After some time, pour out the water which seeps through the funnel. You see sand has the highest percolation rate, while clay did not percolate any water. So clay has the highest retention capacity. If we observe the particle sizes of these samples, we see that the particle size of sand is biggest, followed by that of loam, and clay has the smallest size. So percolation rate through a column of soil is directly proportional to the size of the particles.
Soil and the crops grown in them. Soil is not similar everywhere. Soil is classified into various types based on the appearance and proportion of particles. If the soil is made of greater proportion of big particles, it is called sandy soil. Sand particles are relatively large. They cannot fit closely together, so there are large spaces between them. These places are filled with air. Therefore, in this type of soil, water absorption is very high as the water passes quickly through these spaces. These soils are light, well aerated and dry. The next type of soil is clay soil. It is made of a relatively high proportion of fine particles. Unlike sandy soils, these soils have very less space between particles. Because the particles are smaller in size, water can be trapped in the tiny gaps between them. Clay soils are heavy and hold more water. Yet another type of soil is loamy soil, which is a mixture of sand, soil, and silt. Silt particles are present between sand and soil particles. It also contains humus and is, therefore, considered the best for the growth of plants. Based on the composition and absorption rate of soils, different crops are grown in them. In a vast country like ours, we can find all the different types of soils in different areas. There is clay soil in some parts, loamy soil in some, and sandy soil in others. Soil is affected by wind, rainfall, and humidity. These affect the soil profile and are responsible for changes in the soil. In addition, climatic factors as well as the components of the soil determine the types of vegetation and crops that grow in a particular area. Cereals like wheat and gram are grown in clay and loamy soils because these soils have better water retention capacity. Soil rich in clay and organic matter with good water retention capacity are ideal for paddy. Loamy soil, which drains water easily, is suitable for lentils and other pulses. For cotton, loamy or sandy soils are more suitable because of their water draining and air logging capacity. Soil that is rich in humus and fertile is clay soil. These soils are very good for wheat.
Let us recap. The relative amount of sand and clay depends on the rock from which the particles have been formed. The basis for the classification of soil is the proportion of particles of various sizes in it. Sandy soil is made of a greater proportion of big particles. Sandy soils are light, well aerated and dry. Clay soil is made of a relatively higher proportion of fine particles. Clay soils are heavy and hold more water. Loamy soil is a mixture of sand, soil and silt. Humus is also present in loamy soil.
The natural removal of soil by the action of water or wind is called soil erosion. Look at the images. The disappearances of topmost surface and large ditches in the ground are the signs of soil erosion. Friends, come let us know the factors which causes soil erosion. The most common factors are water and wind movements. Water flowing through ground carries away soil with it. During rain, the soil particles are detached by raindrops. These soil particles are carried away by the running water. Floods are also the main cause behind the soil erosion. The other agent responsible for soil erosion is the wind. Wind picks up the finer soil particles and takes it to the other location. During storms, the heavy wind takes away the bigger soil particles to a distant place, and that causes soil erosion. Though soil erosion is in itself a naturally occurring process, but in many cases increased by human activities. Some of these include deforestation, overgrazing by animals, improper or excess amount of farming practices, trail building, overuse of chemical fertilizers, housing construction, mining, etc. Soil erosion leads to many unfavorable conditions. It results in the loss of soil and breakdown of the soil structure. It decreases the soil fertility due to decrease in the amount of organic matter. It also reduces the moisture content of soil, resulting in drought condition. Decrease in soil fertility leads to decrease in the quality and quantity of the crops. Thus, soil erosion affects the natural vegetation badly, which leads to transfer of fertile land into a desert. Due to soil erosion, the soil shifts and accumulates on the roads and streets. This blocks the driving and results in accidents. It also blocks many irrigation canals. It increases the risk of flooding. The eroded soil deposits in water resources like river, lake, etc. and pollute them. Soil erosion is a major environmental problem. It has affected all over the world, from forests to deserts. Thus, it's the need of the hour to conserve the soil by preventing the soil erosion. There are many ways of preventing soil erosion. One of the most common ways is to grow more and more trees. The roots of trees hold the soil firmly and do not allow it to wash away easily. Trees planted across the wind direction protect soil against the high-velocity winds. Controlling overgrazing of the land by animals also controls the soil erosion. Building dams control soil loss. Some modern techniques of farming need to be practiced. For example, different types of crops should be grown at different times on the same land. Different types of crops should be grown in the alternate rows in the same land. These practices control the loss of soil and increase the fertility of soil. Remember friends, soil is a precious natural resource and it is our duty to conserve it for keeping the environment healthy.